Oh, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or any other source you all might be listening to this on. I realize it's been a while since I made a video. Well, obviously, as you can tell, there's a lot going on in the world. And there's also been some stuff going on with me personally. The father went through a little period there. The father was chastising me, trying to get me to leave the last company I was with. Yes, I said that wrong. I said he was trying to get me to leave. He got me to leave, but it took him a while to get it through my thick skull that that's what I was supposed to do. And because I had it in my mind that I was just going to stay with them guys till the end of the world. That's where he put me in. He put me in with them right after he baptized me with the Holy Ghost. So over the years, I just kind of thought, okay, I was just going to stay there. And then went through a couple months of him chastising me pretty hard. And finally, he broke me. It's okay, I'm not supposed to stay there. So I changed companies. So yeah, things look a little different. I'm in a different truck. Yeah, this company's got bigger bunk, better trucks, faster trucks. We go to different areas. And you can see it's a little nicer in here. I got wooden cabinets and a little bigger TV, whatnot, for passing the time on my downtime when I'm not into doing the Bible studies and whatnot that I need to be doing. But anyway, let's get on to the topic tonight. We're going to be covering how Trump was prophesied to be the president. Trump was also prophesied to lose the presidency, as he did. I'm going to try to stay on topic, but I know we're going to get into a few areas that we're going to have to go off topic a little bit. I just have a hard time coming out here making a 15-minute video because I can't explain anything well enough. There's going to be a lot of my commentary into this tonight, but I'm not sharing anything that the Father hasn't had me write in the books, that it's all based off what he showed me in the King James Version of the Bible. Okay? So, but I can give a little more description, or there might be a little less description. You're never going to understand it the way I understand it, because the Father's been teaching me hands-on, one-on-one training now for a few years, and he's the ultimate teacher. So, I just try to relay in the best way that I can what he's taught me so that you all can see understand what I understand. Because in Isaiah 27:11, God will not have mercy on anyone without understanding, and he will not show anyone favor. We'll go to Malachi 3:6. God doesn't change. If people want to say Isaiah 27:11 was for the people of the past, we're going to be going over this here in a few minutes. But to go on that aspect, you go to Malachi 3:6. It says, I am God, I change not. I think so. Well, actually, I got it right. For I am the Lord, I change not. Therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. That's Malachi 3:6. Okay? You don't want perfection to change. He's perfect. Always has been, always, and he is, and he always will be. Okay? You can't take one iota of a millionth of a millimeter away from perfection and have it still be perfect. You can't change your Father. If he said it the first day one, it's going to stay that way for eternity. For eternity. It's not going to change. He's perfect. He's smart. He knows how to do this. But anyway, John 4, verse 23-24. As I told you all before this, I'm going to start all the videos. But the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and truth, for the Father seeketh such to worship him. God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. Emphasize the hour is. And, it says, but the hour cometh, and now is. I'm saying, and now is. Because this video and the next set of videos that are stream of videos that I'm going to be doing, we're really in a big way going to start seeing how important it is to start worshiping our Father in spirit, because this is all a spiritual workings. This is not going to be carnally. The Bible's not in chronological order as many think it does. They Revelation, as I think I've stated in videos, and I know I laid out in the books, but Revelation is how a lot of this began. It's not how all this is going to end. Isaiah 46:10, God says, I declare the end from the beginning. If you don't understand the beginning, you'll never understand the rest of the Bible. And we're going to be going over that tonight, because I'm going to freak you out a little bit just on the very first 2 verses of the Bible. And if you don't understand the very first 2 verses of the Bible, the rest of the Bible is not going to make much sense to you, because that's what he means when he says, I declare the end from the beginning. In the very beginning of the Bible, if you lose track right there, you're going to lose track of the rest of the Bible. The very first 2 verses. We'll go over that in a little bit. All right, now, something I want to show you that's only in the 4th book. It's not in the 3rd book. I know in the 2nd book I start emphasizing on Psalm 90, where later on here where it talks about we live 70 or 80 years. Right here in verse 10, the days of years, and 3 score years and 10, and by some reason by strength they be 80 years, yet is their strength, labor, and sorrow. Okay, we're not focusing on that tonight. Okay, that's where I talk about, and it's what I talk about in the reincarnation, which reminds me, in the 4th book there is the correction. The Father finally got it through my thick skull on how to do that on the reincarnation. But that's what the part I use on the reincarnation, to show a generation is 70 or 80 years, and then we die and then we fly away. That's where we go up to the holy mountain. We'll wait until the Father sends us back down to earth to be in captivity. Okay? Now, we're not going over that tonight. What I wanted to show, and this is only in the 4th book, not in the 3rd book, even though the 3rd book, I don't know if I told you all that before or not, the 3rd book is inside the 4th book with, I don't know, 260 additional pages. But when the Father told me to write the 4th book, I really felt that there was a very important knowledge in the 3rd book, but I changed a couple chapters around, added some things to a lot of the chapters, but then changed the names of a couple of them. Because, yes, the son of perdition is being revealed in the 4th book. Now, I believe that's in 2 Thessalonians, where we're told the great day of the Lord cannot happen until there be a great falling away and the son of perdition be revealed. The son of perdition, and we'll have to, I'm just going to go ahead and say this, I'm not going to show it right now, but the son of perdition is getting ready to be revealed. But at the same time the son of perdition is getting ready to be revealed, Satan is getting ready to be loosed, for he only has but a short time. That's in the book of Revelation. Okay, part of Revelation is how it's going to end, because yes, Satan is getting ready to be loosed. He's been locked up. The son of perdition reveals where he's locked up. All right, anyway, Psalm 90, right here in the beginning. Lord, thou hast been our dwelling place in all generations, before the mountains were brought forth, or ever thou hadst formed the earth and the world. Even from the everlasting to everlasting, thou art God. Thou turnest man to destruction, and sayest, Return, ye children of men. For 1,000 years in thy sight are but as yesterday when it is past, and as a watch in the night. Now, the reason I wanted to emphasize this, and I think it's in the chapter, the birth of Jesus in the 4th book, and yes, we're not getting into that, but everybody on the planet makes up the one Son of God. Yes, I've told you who I am, but at the same time, we have to remember the prayer, Matthew 6, when we're told how to pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, thy kingdom come, our Father, hallowed be thy name. Whatever, I'm tired. Let's just go to Matthew 6. How long will we do that? Oops, got the wrong spot. Let's use Malachi 3:6. We already went over that, so I know I don't need to do it now. So let's go to Matthew 6. Where does he start telling us how to pray at? Okay. Our Father, which, starting in verse 9, after this manner, therefore pray ye. Our Father, which, I'm sorry, I'm a little tired. Been sitting here meditating, wondering if I should make this video, and I got my mind all wrapped up in other things. But anyway, Matthew 9, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Okay. We're going to be touching on this a little bit later in the video, okay? But if it's happening in earth, everybody makes up the one Son of God. It's happening. If it's happening in heaven, it's happening here on earth. Just as I will be done in earth as it is in heaven. I'm the man that he's chosen to write this in the books, to put this in a book so that you all can understand, hopefully, as well as I do. And that's why I ask everyone when I give them books, and when you read the books, ask our Father to help you understand it, because I teach his doctrine and not mine. It's not what you'll hear in any man-made church and so forth, and I describe that in the books, okay? But I'm just the man, no better than you, no worse than you. We're all equal. That's covered in James 2. We break one law, we break them all. We've all broken one law, so we're all equally transgressors of the law, okay? And as anybody's watched any of my videos, you know my mind goes everywhere when I start talking about the Bible, because it's just, that's all I meditate on is the scriptures. But anyway, now, back to this Psalms 90, okay? Verse 4, for 1,000 years in thy sight are but as yesterday when it is past, and as a watch in the night. Now, I got to pause this for a second because I just thought of something else I need to show y'all. Okay, that didn't take long. But anyway, kind of almost instant for you all. What I wanted to show you now, okay, excuse me. Now, when our Father, well, I guess I need to show that right now. What did I just do with it? What did I just do with it? Huh. Right there. This is 2 Peter, chapter 1, verse 21. Okay, now when our Father had these, let's just read 21. For the prophecy came not in no time by the will of man, but holy men of God spake as they were moved by the Holy Ghost. Okay? A lot of people look at the Bible and they think that people were writing the Bible down as it happened. No. These are holy men, just like when the 3 previous books the fathers had me write. You know, I'm being moved by the Holy Ghost, and I'm being told what to put in the books. I'm a man in the flesh, so yeah, there's clerical errors or whatever you want to call it in the books. You know, I've got a nice, great education, so I don't write fancy, and I don't write big, complicated theories or anything like that. I just try to explain what I'm being told to write. Okay, so, but back when the Bible was written, all right, it was not written as it was happening. I know there's a lot of people, I've heard people talking about how Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are all different, but they're all talking about Jesus, so it was different people that was actually writing things on a different account. No, these were holy men being moved by the Holy Ghost, being told what to write. Now, if you go back to that Psalm 90 at the beginning, now you start to realize that our Father, all-knowing Father, perfect Father, knew a billion years ago what's going to happen today, and knew a billion years ago what's going to be happening 1,000 years from now. Okay? all-knowing. So he makes it sound as if the Bible is past tense. It makes it sound like the whole Bible's past tense, but it's not. And I show people this all the time. The Bible is about us. This is in all 4 books. The Bible is one long letter of instructions on how we are to live our lives, from Genesis 1 to Revelation 22. It's a book. It's a letter of instructions for us. Yes, my life is talked about in this Bible throughout, and I go into detail in the 3rd and the 4th books, showing this. That, yeah, my life is definitely written about, and I show the connection that when you read these books that the Fathers had me write, you're going to see how your life is going to connect with the Bible. You're gonna start to see it, and it's just like, wow. This can't just be about the people of the past. Yes, I show how we today have many wives and many husbands. Okay, now I think maybe I am gonna do that real quick. It's been probably about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. It was kind of a weird night. I was on my way out to California. And I was going to stop at a Walmart. And this is off topic. As I told you, this is the way it works with me, because my mind's always thinking about everything about the Bible. All right, but anyway, that evening, I was getting low on hours, getting ready to stop, and I was thinking, well, I wanted to stop at a Walmart. There were some things I needed to pick up at Walmart. I wasn't low on hours. I misspoke that. Wasn't low on hours yet. Put it this way. But anyway, and I'd never been to this Walmart before. I wasn't sure if they had truck parking. So as I'm driving by, I see that they got truck parking. Well, and I was like, well, I'm not going to go turn around and come back. I'll just stop at another Walmart another day. I didn't have to have Walmart right at the time. Well, anyway, earlier that day, I got a text on my phone from Love's Travel Center, which I never do. But I got one from that day. So I started thinking, after I passed that Walmart, well, I'm going to go up here to the Love's truck stop and take my 30-minute break. So I pull into the truck stop and get my truck parked, and I'm sitting back there eating. I fixed me a roast beef sandwich and, I don't know, mashed potatoes and I don't know, whatever, with it, to go with it. And as I'm sitting there eating, I see another driver pull up. It's a female driver. And she seen me back to my bunk. She was setting up to back up. She just kind of looked. She's checking out where she needs to back into to be safe. And we just made eye contact. So anyway, nothing, never even thought much about it. And she got parked. She parked 2 spaces down from me. And if she ever sees this video, she'll know what I'm talking about. But this was, at this time, I had nothing that was going on. Right now, I'm taking a 30-minute break. I was like, I'll take a 30-minute break. I'll get a little closer to California. This was then, I believe, Kingman, Arizona, or Winslow, Arizona. One of the two. I can't remember. But anyway, so I got 30 minutes was about up. I got up and I started my truck, and I was just getting ready to go, and she hollered at me on the radio. Okay, and I didn't hear what she said, so I jumped out. I wanted to hear what she said. So I jumped out and I walked over to her truck, and she was just asking me about the company, and like I said, these are nicer trucks. They're pretty fancy, and so forth. She goes how fast they run and whatnot. And we talked for a couple minutes, and as I've told you all before in previous videos and in the books, if I'm going to stand around and talk with anyone, and I don't care who it is, male or female, I'm bringing the Father into the conversation. I'm bringing a Bible into it. I'm going to talk about my Father, our Father. I'm here to glorify Him. Okay? And, well, we talked for a couple minutes, and then I asked her about spirituality, and we got to talking. I gave her some books, And next thing we know, about 3 or 4 hours into the conversation, I'm guessing that that's what it was, because it was later on when we found out we had been talking for 5 hours. But it was I'm guessing around 3 or 4 hours into the conversation, I started thinking of John 5 really hard. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I told her, I says, I think this is actually John 5 being fulfilled. I says, but it's weird because you've told me you only had 4 husbands. But now her and I had spoken earlier. Like I said, we were talking about the Bible, and I explained to her how nowhere in the Bible does anybody ever go to a priest or pastor or judge or anything to make a marriage legal. Sex, an agreed bindment between a man and a woman. When a man lays down with a harlot, they become one flesh. Okay, and I explained that to her. When a man and a woman make an agreement and they actually have sex, they actually become married in our Father's eyes. That's how we today have many wives or many husbands. It's because we actually, anybody we sleep with, other than rape doesn't work that way. Okay, you can't go out and rape someone and make her your wife. That does not work that way. But when you you lay down with a whore, that becomes your wife. In the next life, you two have to somehow are going to be connected. Okay, in the updated version of the reincarnation, I kind of explained that in better detail. We're not going to get into that tonight. But anyway, I wanted to just kind of touch on this John 5. So, but anyway, after I mentioned this, I said about John, I think John 5 is being fulfilled right now. She goes, well, I lived with a man for 12 years without the man-made marriage. There's husband 5. Now, let's just skip down here to John. Oh, by the way, while I'm standing there talking to her after 2 or 3 hours, I'm getting cottonmouth. Been out here just talking. Y'all could just hear the way I jabber. Okay, yeah. You ever meet me in person? That's the way I'm gonna be. I'm gonna talk about the Father, blah 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 blah, and I'm just gonna ramble on. And while I've been sitting out, we've been standing. She was sitting in her truck. I was standing outside, and she was talking. She had her window down, and we was just talking. And 2 or 3 hours into it, I'm sitting there starting to say I'm getting awful thirsty because I didn't have anything with me. I drink coffee when I'm driving truck or when I'm getting ready to make a video. I'll drink coffee so I don't get real tired while I'm making a video or whatnot, and then I'll quit drinking coffee about an hour or two before I go to bed. Whatever. But anyway, I'm getting thirsty and so forth, and I start mentioning I'm awful I'm getting thirsty. She offers me a bottle of water, blah, 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 blah. Okay. But then so forth. But now, if we just go to John 5, let's skip the part where let's just read up here. I didn't walk into a city, but remember, a person, and I show this in a book, can represent a city, or a city can represent a person or people. People can represent a person, or people can represent a city. Okay, but now, see, where is this? Actually, I think it might be John 4. Yeah, John 4. Sorry, my bad. I got it wrong. What a surprise. John 4. When cometh into the city, Jesus is walking here. I'll just skip down to verse 9 here. When he was by himself, for his disciples, verse 8, his disciples were gone away unto the city to buy meat. Then saith to the woman of Samaria unto him, how is it thou... Okay, let's go to 5, verse 5. Then cometh he to the city of Samaria, which is called Sakar, need to the parcel of ground that Jacob gave to his son Joseph. Now Jacob's well was there. Jesus, therefore, being wearied with his journey, sat thus on the well, and it was about the 6th hour. There cometh a woman of Samaria to draw water. Jesus said unto her, Give me to drink. Remember, I was saying I was thirsty. Now we're going to skip all the way down here, where it says that the woman said, and yes, by this time, no, it was when I was talking about, I think I told that night it was John 5, but it was John 4. Like I said, I've got the Bible all over the place, and I don't remember exactly where everything's at, and I've talked to the Father about that, and I'm not going to try to remember where everything's at the very time when I'm talking to people. Usually I got my phone with me, and I'll Google it. I didn't have my phone because I just got out of the truck, just talked to her for a couple minutes. It wound up being a 6-hour conversation by the time it was all over with. But anyway, verse 17. No. Verse 15. The woman saith unto him, Sir, give me this water, that I thirst not, neither come hither to draw. Jesus said unto her, Go, call thy husband, and come hither. The woman answered and said, I have no husband. Jesus said unto her, Thou hast well said, I have no husband. For thou hast had 5 husbands, and he whom thou now hast is not thy husband. In that says thou truly. Now, she had 5 husbands. I was thirsty. We talked for like 6 hours. Okay? It talks about the 6th hour there. I mean, it was actually happening in real time. And that's what I mean. The Bible is about our lives. By the way, before this conversation was over, I did tell her, and I got this noted on the back of the 4th book, anyone that drinks of the water I give you, water being knowledge, okay? Anyone, now think about this. If this water wasn't knowledge, okay, Jesus come into this city or Samaria, wherever, and he wanted water to drink. But yet, he's got water to provide. Why would he want water if he had water to provide? See, that water that I give you is knowledge. And anyone that drinks of the water I give you, you'll never thirst again. Okay? You'll never thirst again. Because the Father will grab a hold of you and start teaching you just the same way that he's taught me, without you having to go through everything that I've gone through, because you all have a lot much better understanding, because that's what he's had me do. He's laid it all out in the books for you all to understand. Okay? But I just wanted to show you all that. It's John 4, not John 5, but John 4 was actually fulfilled about a week, I'd say probably a week and a half, maybe getting close to 2 weeks ago now. But anyway, but yeah, the Bible is about our lives today, not just about the past. Now, Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 11, show you where I'm at. All right. Let me just read it. Ecclesiastes 3:11. He have made everything beautiful in his time. Also, he have set the world in their heart, so that no man could find out the work of God, or the work that God maketh from the beginning to the end. Now, through these 4 books that the fathers had me write, you can understand what he's been doing from the beginning until, well, we're in the very last days now. So now we're in the very end, now until the end. That's what these books are about, is to show that we can understand it. But he's put it in man's heart. David is a man still. Okay? I'm not the invisible Jesus as talked about in Colossians 1. The invisible Jesus took over David's body, okay? And I understand what he's doing. I agree with what he's doing. And I acknowledge, well, let me put it this way. I understand what he's doing. I know what he's doing. I acknowledge what he's doing. I agree with what he's doing. And I wouldn't want him to stop doing what he's doing. Because it is, oh, wow, so great. But anyway, our Father has put it in man's heart so that he couldn't understand from the time of the beginning till the time of the end. Through these books, you can get an understanding of what he's been doing since day one. And you're gonna kind of learn that a little bit tonight on day one, how people have misinterpreted the Bible. Okay? Now we can understand it from the time of the beginning to the time of the end. He hasn't let anybody understand it before. Now we can. Now we can. So we know we're in the end. Because we all can start to understand the Bible. Let's see here. Now, before we get into this on the, excuse me, I gotta pour some coffee. Now, we gotta kind of build up to where this actually shows how Trump's in the Bible. Trump is the president at the right time, and Trump was supposed to lose the presidency just as he's losing it now. We got to kind of build up to this, all right? But this is something that is covered in, really starts laying in on this in the second book. We have to understand that everybody on the planet, as I told you, every one of us, no matter what color, what race, what nationalism, what size, shape, doesn't matter what someone's done, doing, or will do, they make up the one Son of God. Isaiah 8, the first 8 verses of Isaiah 8 actually shows this. I'm not showing it tonight, but you can see Emmanuel starts with an I, not an E. We go to the New Testament, we know God, Emmanuel, is interpreted as God with us. Okay, but it's spelled with an E in the New Testament. Well, in Isaiah 8, it's spelled with an I. And it talks about Isaiah, or Emmanuel, being scattered all over the entire earth. Everybody on the planet makes up the one Son of God. Matthew 6, the prayer, okay? Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Okay? So, now, this is happening up there, and you really got to understand that all the Bible, most of the Bible is actually happening above us. It's not happening below. It's not happening right here. What they're talking, they're having their conversations in heaven. I've talked about this in the previous videos, and I know I laid out in the books. All right, now, Psalm 119, show you where I'm at here. Psalm 119, verse 91. They continue this day according to thy ordinances, for all are thy servants. This is what we're putting emphasis on. For all are thy servants. Everybody on the planet, I don't care who it is, what color, what race, what nationalism, what size, shape, or what they've done, what they're doing or will do, they are at minimum a servant of God. Everybody. Okay? And or this is the way I put it in the books, and or vessel of God. Now we're gonna go over here to 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 7. We're gonna skip all the rest. I'm just pointing out that everybody is a vessel of God. Everybody's a servant. We just read that in Psalm 119. Now let's look how everybody is a vessel of God. Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto thy wife, as unto the weaker vessel, and as being their heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. Now, unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel. It doesn't say any particular wife. It is calling the woman a weaker vessel. Weaker vessel of God than the man is. The man is the stronger vessel of God. The woman is the weaker vessel. Everybody is a servant and or vessel of God. Everybody. Doesn't matter who you are. Okay? Everybody is a servant and or vessel of God. You really got to understand this to be able to get to what we're getting into tonight. Now, do I want to get into that part first? Oh, that's Isaiah 46:10 there, where God's declaring the end from the beginning. We're here. Isaiah 46, show you where I'm at. Isaiah 4, verse 9. Remember the former things of old, for I am God, and there is none else. I am God, and there is none like me. Declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all of my pleasure. Now, hear that little part there in verse 10, from ancient times the things that are not yet done. But as we read in Psalm 90, he's had it written like it's already done. Already done. But it's not been done yet. Right there. Verse 10, 46:10. Let's see now. I don't know if I want to go over this. Let me pause this. I think I'm losing it. Got this in the wrong spot. Okay. I did have that in the wrong spot. Let me kind of explain that. When I slap these videos together, I just get up. I kind of know what I want to put in it. As you can tell, there's things I forget about and whatnot that I want to show you because I've had to pause it and I've looked things up live, whatever. Okay, but when I decide to do these videos, it's not like I sit days and prepare for it. Way back when I used to make videos, after the Father used to after the Father first called me to the Bible in 2011, and I made a bunch of videos, which by the way I've deleted a lot of those now because those were when I used to think carnally, and I used to think the Bible was going to happen in chronological order. And back when I used to think the Bible was a lot of things were going to happen just as the Bible says it was going to happen, which is so far away from the truth. I mean, because we are the beast that those above sacrifice. I show this in the second, the third books. Well, I guess it'll be in the fourth book too. But we are the animals that they sacrifice. God never commanded man to sacrifice animals. In the third and the fourth book, I show what a true fast is. Anyway, I mean, my mind just goes all over all the time. And anyway, when I finally decide to get up here, like tonight, when I decided to do a video, it's like I was going to slap it together. Actually, I made one a few nights ago, let it stay on, uploaded it, and only let it stay on YouTube for a few hours. The Father's like, you didn't explain it right. So I deleted it, and I had to redo it. So tonight, when I decided to redo it, fire the computer up, and, I know what I'm kind of looking for, so I just kind of slap everything together real quick. And sometimes I get things in different, well, as you can tell, in the wrong spot, whatever, to kind of make it paint one picture. So anyway, what we're starting to get into now is we're going to go back, as I told you, I'm kind of skipping a little bit. We're going to go over how we're not going over how man misinterprets the very first two verses of the Bible. We're going to step down to where God said, let us make man in our own image. All right. Okay. Let's just go ahead and read that. Genesis 1. Everybody should know that. This is where this is at. Genesis 1, verse 26 through 28. Okay. Now, first thing I'm going to bring up, as I told you, this is when we're hearing or listening to the Bible. I've talked about it in videos and in the books. It's almost like we're eavesdropping or hearing what they're talking about in heaven, not here on earth. All right. Okay. So, when God says right here, let us make man in our own image, he was not talking to man. He was talking to those above us. Okay. Now, let's read this. Genesis 1:26 through 28. And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful, and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. There's the key right there. That's what he means when he says, let us make man in our image. Then you go down to 28, and he says, let them have dominion over the fish, over the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. They have dominion over us. Those that he's talking to above us, they have dominion over us. A lot of the Old Testament, he's actually given instructions, ordinances, and commandments to those above us, not us. That does not rule out believing the writings of Moses, because that's in John 5. If you do not believe the writings of Moses, you will not believe my words. Okay? That will be a video for later time, but we're going to show that tonight how, and this is in the 3rd book and the 4th book, about how the earth is covered with water, spiritual water, and this spiritual water is called Egypt. So the whole earth is Egypt. And we must be led, the spirit of Moses leads us out of Egypt. Okay, I've seen this flood with my own 2 eyes from 32,000 feet. That'll be another video at another time. What we're focusing on tonight is how God said, let us make man in our own image, and how he gave us dominion over all the beasts, all the fowls, all the fish, and everything. He gave us dominion over those in their image because they have dominion over us. Okay? Now, this is where I want to go into Nehemiah 9:37. I'm only showing one. I go into way more detail in the book, in the 4th book, not in the 3rd book, only in the 4th book. This is one of the extra chapters that the Father had me add into the 4th book, but I go into this where I show, I give more detail on how they have dominion over us. But let's just read Nehemiah 9, verse 37. And it yieldeth much increase unto the kings whom thou hast set over us because of our sins. Also they have dominion over our bodies and over our cattle at their pleasure, and we are in great distress. Yes, now this dominion will cause people to do a lot of things. It can. Okay, I cannot say what particular dominion he might have over anybody else, but now this is something that he had me lay out in the 2nd book that he had me write. Okay, but now if, and this is going to upset a lot of you, okay, and I don't know if I need to show that next, but let's just talk about this for a second. Excuse me. All right, but now let's just say a man, you have to believe in reincarnation. Okay, not believe in it. You got to know it's real. All right, and if you watch the videos, when you go to Job 19, there's no way you can defy it. I mean, reincarnation is 100% real, and I know my mom and dad are as one, but it's 2 sisters in the same family as one. All right, but anyway, that's another video. But they have, you got to believe in the reincarnation. Let's say now if someone spends their life stealing from people, this whole life you spend your time stealing from people. Your next life, that's going to happen to you all the time. You're going to be stolen from. homosexuality. If you can't stand homosexuals, or I guess they call them homophobics or whatever, okay, but if you despise them, and I show this in the second book, if you despise or hate someone, God will send you to that land. That's what you're going to be in your next life. That dominion, that's how strong a dominion they have over us. They will cause people, if you murder someone, being how everybody's a servant, everybody's a vessel of God, you'll be murdered in your next life. If, one example I left in the book, I know I put in the books, is that if you despise Hispanic women, your next life, that's exactly what you'll be. You'll be an Hispanic woman. Why? Because the ways of this world are to judge, condemn, to think of ourselves before others, to think of ourselves better than others, and to think of ourselves that we're more deserving of God's love than others, which are all the ways of Satan, because you're living in Satan's world, Satan's kingdom. Okay? So, our Father will make you be whatever you despise, so that your soul, not your flesh, so that your soul can learn what it feels like to be judged upon, condemned, just for being the person you are. Okay? Now that I'm going to give you a prime example, and this is in the third and the fourth book, of how they even have dominion over things that we say. Now, there's this young woman that I know, haven't spoken with her in a long time. Actually, shortly after this happened, our conversation stopped. This is the will of the Father. But I had just stopped somewhere, and I had given her some books. She had my phone number. And, by the way, I don't mess around with anybody. I'm married to God. Okay? I will not cheat on the Father. Okay? I don't care. Anyway, so to get all those thoughts out of your head. All right? If you're around me, we're talking about the Father. That's just the way it's going to be. Otherwise, the conversation ain't going to happen. Let's not get into that. Anyway, I had left, and I remember on that day, my air conditioner in my truck wasn't working. It was a summer day, and my air conditioner wasn't working on my truck, and a couple other things were wrong with it, and I was on the way to the shop, and I just stopped real quick, handed her some books, told her, I got to go because, I had to match the hours on the logbook, and air conditioner wasn't working on the truck. I was going north. I wanted to get somewhere where it was going to be cool or whatever. All right. But anyway, shortly after I had left, she gave me a call on the phone to thank me for the books. No big deal. And I tell everybody, always thank the Father, because he's the ultimate. I'll wait until I get up there before I get any of my rewards. Okay. I don't want no reward here because I can't take it with me. All right. But she called me. Well, then, now we went over this earlier in how I started out on all of the videos, John 4, verse 24, where it says, God is spirit. All of a sudden, she says, David, she said, hear what the Spirit says to you. Make thy name known. Make thy name known. Get the book done, or you're going to have to start all over from the beginning. Now, I go into more detail on that in the book, in the third and the fourth book, okay? But when she said, and I didn't realize it at that time, I argued with her. I says, how can I? Because the Son of Man must be rejected by this generation, and I've been rejected, which that's all getting ready to end. The Father's already told me that, all right? But I didn't even realize it at the time. When she said that, I argued with her, and I said, how in the heck am I supposed to, how am I going to get the book done with no one to read the books? I was just arguing with her. And after we got off the phone, it hit me. David, how'd she say that? She said, God is spirit. Hear what the Spirit says to you. Then it sunk in, and I said, oh my gosh, the Father just talked to me. Remember, she's a servant and or vessel of God. That was God inside of her telling me to hear what the Spirit was saying to me. That was a direct commandment coming to me from the Father. That dominion that they above us have caused her to say that. Now, I called her about a week after that. We had spoken, and I told her about that. She says, I didn't say all that. I said, yes, you did. Well, what? Yes, you did. I mean, she did not remember it. I mean, I go into detail how that happened with my mom, that happened with my brother, that happens with people all the time. They have even dominion to cause us to say things when we don't even want to say things. Give you an example. Have you ever had one of those, oh, dang it, why did I do that moments? There's a very good chance that is those that have a dominion over us caused you to do that. Now, I don't know which spirits above us have dominion over each particular person. That's not for me to know. As I've laid out in the books and in the videos, God will only tell me what he needs me to know, not what he needs you to know. He will only tell you what you need to know, and he won't tell me what you need to know. Regardless, he works on everybody on an individual basis. It's not a big group thing. It's our own conscience. Now remember, okay, and I show this in the books. I'm not going to show it tonight, but God talks to our conscience. Okay? There are 15 verses in the New Testament alone that tell us to be sober, sober-minded, or to think soberly. There are 30 verses that mention the word conscience. Now, a couple of those verses actually say the word conscience twice, okay? But there's 15 verses to say to be sober, 30 verses to mention our conscience. That's half the battle right there. Because our Father talks to each and every one of our consciences. Now, you go back in the book of Job, you know God gives all of us, everybody on the planet, instructions while we sleep. That's in the book of Job. I show that in the books. I might have even showed it in the videos before. But this is what I mean. They have dominion over our bodies. Okay? Let's see here. I guess it's a little out of track. Well, a little out of place, I should say. But I'm going to go ahead and do this right now. I'm going to show how many just truly don't understand. When they read the very first 2 verses of the Bible, they lose track of the whole entire Bible. All right. Genesis 1, the very 2 verses. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, notice the capital D there, and the darkness he called night, notice the capital N. And the evening and the morning were the first day. Now, we're going to skip down to the 4th day. Let's see here. That's the 5th day. Let me see here. I'm trying to find the end of the 3rd day. There we go. Verse 14 is the beginning of the 4th day. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years, and let them be for the lights of the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. God made the 2 great lights, and God made 2 great lights. The greater light to rule the day, the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And God set them in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light into the darkness. And God saw that it was good, and the evening and the morning were the 4th day. Now hold on. What about this light that he created, that he called day, with the capital D. I guess that's not the very first 2 verses, first 5 verses of Genesis, excuse me. Okay? But then in the night he called with the capital N, he called darkness. Or the darkness he called night with the capital N. Now, we just read that on the 4th day, he created the sun and the moon and the stars to make the light on the earth. So what is this light and this darkness that he created? So, now, this is why I say, if you don't understand the very beginning of the Bible, you're going to have a hard time understanding the rest of the Bible. So let's skip over to 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 5. But ye are all the children of light and the children of the day. And we are not of the night, nor of darkness. Now, go back to Genesis 1. Go back. Verse 5, and God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. Now, I won't show this in the scriptures right now, but God says he has saved the evil man for the day of destruction. Okay? God loves everyone. Doesn't matter who you are. Okay? He has saved us all for a reason. We've got the children of the day. We've got the children of the night. The children of the night is the evil man for the day of destruction, which is coming pretty soon. Don't know the day or hour, but it's coming pretty soon. Okay? But that's what I was talking about. If you don't understand the very beginning of the Bible, it makes it so hard to understand the rest of it because you're off track right from the beginning. As God says in Isaiah 46, 9 and 10, okay, I declare the end. He declares, not me, him, the Father, declares the end from the beginning. You got to understand the beginning if you want to understand the rest of the Bible. You've got to understand the beginning. That's how important it is to listen to everything that our Father has had these holy men write in the Bible. Because our Father will not show us if we don't seek him with all of our heart, soul, and mind and strength. That's in the Old Testament. I'm not going to show it right now, but he says, tell them to seek me with all of the heart, soul, and mind, and strength. Seek him with everything you got. He'll grab onto you, latch onto him. You got to show him you want him there. All right. Okay, we already went over that. Now, we went over all this dominion that they held over us. Now, what we're going to be talking about now is, this dominion that they have over us. Okay, when President Trump got elected, okay, this dominion over our bodies caused enough people to vote Donald Trump in. Okay? Now, on this election, I'm talking about the election in 2016, I did not vote for. Okay? Now, I voted before that, but once the Father started showing me how all this worked, I was like, no, I'm not voting. It's not up to us. It's truly not up to us who gets in office. It's up to the Father. They are appointed. Oh, and I was just looking at that a little while ago, too, where we are supposed to adhere to the governors and so forth, because the Father's the one that actually places them there. And, and I go into that in the books, about the laws and so forth. The speed limit side, it's actually our Father that's actually set the speed limit, not man. Okay? But 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 52, or 51. Starts with 51. Okay. Now, when Trump lost this election, This dominion that he got, I think I'm kind of skipping around here. Like I told you, I'm kind of tired. For this dominion, when Trump lost this election, okay, he didn't, it was written, or it was prophesied thousands of years ago. However you want to say, however long ago. I mean, okay. Let's just read it. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. In a moment, in a twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. Hear that? At the last trump. And that just reminded me, I'm going to finish reading this. Okay? But that's something else I needed to show y'all too. Okay? In a moment, in a twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. So when the corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, Death is swallowed up in victory. O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory? The sting of death is sin, and the strength of sin is the law. By the way, Psalm 119, 142, thy law is truth. The truth shall set you free. Okay? But thanks be to God, which giveth us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. Okay. Now I got to pause this because there's something I also wanted to show y'all. All right. Okay. I guess what I was trying to point out, now we just read about, in behold, I show you a mystery, which we shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. Okay, now I know a lot of people think that has to do with the rapture. No, there's no such thing as a rapture. Okay, we all got to go through all these labor pains together. Yes, the world's in labor right now. That's another video, another time. That's in the 4th book. Okay. Oh, by the way, hard labor. We're in hard labor. The water's been broke. Just imagine when. Yeah, let's not get into that. All right. But in that moment, in a twinkling of an eye, a lot of people think that means we're going to be changed instantly. But listen to what it's telling us right after that. Well, first, let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and show this. We're going to go back to Psalm 90 where we was. Okay. For 1,000 years in thy sight, or but as of yesterday when it is past. Okay. That kind of more or less just tells us that God knows everything. And the Bible sounds like it's past, but it's present. That's all. That kind of really don't hit it. Well, let's go to 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 8. But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. Now, I've heard people say our lives are nothing but a blink in the eye. Okay, but now in the King James Bible, I don't believe it says that anywhere, that our lives are just a blink in the eye. Maybe in other Bible verses, versions, I don't know, because I mainly stick with the King James Version. Well, I stick with the King James. That's what the Father tells me to use. Okay, but now let's go back to 1 Corinthians, okay? And let's read what we're told after we read in a moment, in a twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. By the way, now trump is the last trump. So, but now I want to explain this. It says, okay, the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. So when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, Death is swallowed up in victory. Now you just heard it say, in a moment, in a twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. This doesn't happen instantaneously. Okay? But once you start to read and you start to understand what's actually going on, this is a process of time. And I explain this in the book. You know, kind of brings me to something I showed in like in the fourth book, where, you know, people say back in the day. Okay, they're talking about a span of time. They're not talking about a specific day. And that's what this is actually referring to. It's a span of time. Because in this span of time, which is coming up right quick, okay, people must put on incorruption. They must take this body of corruption and put on incorruption. They must take this mortal body and put on immortality. Okay? It's not something that's just going to automatically happen. We're not going to be changed just like that. Remember, we're dealing on our Father's timeline, not man's timeline. Man times frames time. So that backwards. Man frames time. Man got time framed down to the second. We got our seconds, we got our minutes, we got our hours, we got our days, we got our weeks, our months, our years, our decades, our centuries, our millennials. Okay? The Bible doesn't talk about none of that as framing time. In fact, the Bible actually tells us not to even worry about tomorrow. But we do. That's what man does. Okay? But our Father, who has always been, always is, and always will be, has no timeline. We're in their image. So we have our timeline in their image. So our hour to a blink in the Father's eye could be a month, 2 months, or 3 months. Something like that. Okay? Our lives we're like grasshoppers to him. And I mean, that's in the Bible, and I show it in the books. Okay? But that moment, that twinkling of an eye, doesn't mean it's going to happen as fast as you blink your eyes. It's just not going to work that way. Okay? It's not going to work that way. Because you're told right after that, we must put on incorruption. Corruption must put on corruption. The mortal must put on immortality. Okay? He's not going to change you. You've got to make that choice. He's not going to force himself on anyone. You got to want him there. That's what he's about. He loves you to give you your choice. It's your choice. You can either want him there or you can not want him there. And he will give you what you want, what your heart truly seeks. Because he's testing your heart. He knows what you truly want. You can tell anybody you want what carnally, you can just, oh, this is what I want. But if you don't show it with your works, as talked about in James 2, if you don't show it with your works, he'll know. He knows. It must be true love for him first. 2 greatest commandments: love God with all your heart, soul, and mind. Second, which is equal to the first commandment, is to love thy neighbor as you love thyself. Okay? He comes first. He comes first. And when you go to him and you truly start loving him with all of your heart, soul, and mind, and truly start to seek him with all your heart, soul, and mind and strength, he will start to teach you how to love everyone else, as he's done with me, as I love myself. That's what he does. His love is so profound and so great, but you got to want that love. You got to want him in your life. He's not going to force himself there. And I know there's a lot of people out here that really want him there. All right? But anyway, now, at the last trump. Now, this dominion that they have over us caused all these people to elect President Trump in 2016. But it's the same dominion that they have over our bodies that actually caused President Trump to lose this election. Now, I know President Trump right now is really having a hard time with it. He doesn't like it. He thinks it's bogus. And if he wants to accuse anybody of robbing him of this election, he needs to accuse our Father, because the election was done by our Father. That's that dominion that he did. When this COVID-19 broke out, this is the first contraction. That's another video. Okay, but when the COVID-19 broke out, they had to make certain different things work differently. They can't just say, okay, we don't care about your lives. Everybody just go to the election, stand next to each other, and get infected. We don't care, vote. They had to do things differently. That was him above us actually doing that. He set it up to happen this way, so the election happened the way that it did, and that way President Trump actually got a lot of votes, but the Democrats got more. Now you understand why I don't vote, because it's actually the Father putting in office the person he needs to be put in office. Now, to illustrate this, and I guess I could look it up, but I've been listening to the news so much. You know what? I'm going to do it that way. You all know I'm actually telling you the truth here. All right, so I got to pause this for a second, and I got to look it up. What I'm going to show you is how what the case count of this COVID-19 were on. Yes, by the way, COVID-19 was brought on by our Father, not by man. This is explained in detail in the fourth book only. Okay, but that was just. I'm getting off track. That's our first contraction. It was brought on by man. Brought on by our Father, not man. But anyway, I got to pause this. So I'm actually going to show you how the cases increased since Election Day. All right, I'm back. Okay. Now, what I wanted to show tonight, okay, is kind of how you all can hear the trumpet shall be sounded. Now, I will say, the Bible says our conversations are in heaven. That trumpet is actually for those that have dominion above us. They can hear it, and I can hear it, but not as well as they can hear it. And I'm going to kind of show you all how you all can start hearing it too. Okay. Now, so at the last trump. Now, the day the president lost the election was November 3rd, he thought he won because he got in the lead. Just to make some commentary on that, and I'm not trying to criticize him, okay, but just to kind of look at it this way. My first analogy that the Father kind of taught me how to look at it, and I've come up with a few since then, but the Father says, like, I used to be a NASCAR fan. It's been a few years, and I used to race stock car. But I used to be a big NASCAR fan. And the way the Father explained it to me, he said, David, that's kind of like watching a race, When was the last time that any of us have ever seen them run, I think the Talladega 600-mile race? Okay, when was the last time you seen them only do 100 miles of any race and say whoever was leading right then, the race was over? It's done. Okay, like I was telling you about how the Father changed things around so the election was done differently this time. There was a lot of ballots that needed to be counted. So Trump got into the lead the first night, November 3rd, but on November 4th, he started falling behind. When they started tallying up more counts, it started looking more in the favor for the Democrats or Biden, however you all want to look at it. I look at it as Trump or Biden, both. They're just servants and or vessels of God, hopefully doing what they're supposed to be doing to fulfill whatever they need to fulfill. They're no better, they're no worse. We're all equally stuck here together. Okay? But now, on November 3rd, Trump thought he was winning. But then when they started balloting all the mail-in votes or whatever, however they said it, Biden started jumping in the lead. Okay, now, what I wanted to show you all tonight, okay, is how to kind of hear this trumpet. It took me a few minutes to find it because a lot of things, and it's actually hard to go back to. I was having a difficult time finding the case count from back when actually everything it wanted to show me was what it is now. All right, but now I want to show here on October 30th, right here, October 30th, U.S. sets record with nearly 100,000 new cases in one day. That was a record on October 30th. Okay. Now on November 4th, we're going up here, November 4th, coronavirus cases exceed 100,000 in one day for the first time. Now they've gotten up close to 200,000 since then. That's November 4th. That's the day that Biden started coming in the lead. Started working the way into the lead. Trump started to say, I won. You know, he actually won, but he didn't win. Okay? But Trump was supposed to be the president to lose. He is the last Trump. See, now, excuse me, from when he lost the election to January 20th, this is the last Trump. Remember I was talking about the span of time? It's not like a Trump, like someone's going to play a trumpet in a band, okay? But he is the last Trump. That's the engrafted word that we're told to hear in James 1, verse 21. Hear the engrafted word which may save your souls, or however it's exactly worded. I'm not wording it exactly, but I know that's in James chapter 1, verse 21. Hear the engrafted word. This is the engrafted word on this section right here. Trump is the last Trump. He lost the election. Now he'll be finished January 20th at the last Trump. This is the last span that the President Trump can be the president. This is the last Trump. The trumpet shall sound. Now it's sounding up there, but we can kind of hear it here. Now on November 4th, they exceeded over 100,000. Like I said, they've gotten close to 200,000. Here, now you can hear the death rates going up. Now all these man-made holidays are coming up, Thanksgiving and so forth. People are already booking the airplane companies are talking about booking more flights because people want to travel. There are going to be people mingling. These COVID cases are going to rise, which hospitalizations are going to rise. Then what follows? Deaths are going to rise. These are pains and sorrows that we all have to go through. Now, I'm not going to show it right now, but as the Bible says, it doesn't matter if they die or not. Whether we live or whether we die, we belong to Christ. This is everybody on the planet. We all are part of the body of Christ. Okay? So it doesn't matter if they live or die, but it's the pain and the suffering and that has to go with it. You know, this is all what's happening. I mean, the trumpet is sounding. It is sounding. And it's going to get a lot worse, folks. I'm telling you, it's going to get a lot worse. But anyway, I wanted to show you that so y'all wouldn't, if you're all paying attention to the news, and I explained this in the book. Back in January, the Father told me to stop listening to the Bible, start paying attention to the news. And we'll probably save that for another video at another time. But that is how he got me. That was him telling me to write the next book. He'll put it that way. But anyway, November 4th is when they started going over 100,000. They've been up to close to, I think 184 was the top or something like that, 184,000. Yesterday it was 171,000 or something like that. And they're up there, which hospitalizations follow, deaths follow, and so forth. This is pain and suffering, and things are going to get worse. They're starting to shut things down, which the economic shutdown was the second contraction of the hard labor. Anyway, now that's explained in the fourth book. But Trump was prophesied to be is prophesied to be the president. He is prophesied to be the last president, before 1 Corinthians verse 15, as we just read, 51 through the rest of the chapter. Goes on. Yeah. Okay, but Trump he's prophesied. He's not going to overturn this election. This stuff that's going on right now is, we all got to understand that it wasn't up to man who won the election. It was up to the Father. Now, when you read the books and you start putting everything that the Father's taught me, putting it all together, I mean, to me, it just sticks out like a sore thumb. But for you all, I know it's all foreign to you. It's Greek. You don't understand it. But that's why the Father's had me write these books, is to help you all understand what he's doing. Because Isaiah 27:11, I don't know if I've got that in here for later, but he won't have mercy on anyone without understanding, and he will not show favor to anybody. And it doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what color, race, nationalism, what size or shape you are, doesn't matter what you've done, what you're doing, or will do. If you don't have understanding of what he's doing right here, right now, that's part of that engrafted word, and realizing that the Bible is about us. If it was about them years ago, it's about us today, because God doesn't change. Okay? We got to have an understanding of what he's doing. Got to want to know who he is, what he's doing, why he's doing what he's doing. And these books help y'all understand exactly what he's doing. Anyway, where are we going next? Now, this dominion, okay, on this virus, there was some conspiracy theories, or whatever you want to call them, saying men created it in a lab. I wanted to point this out, okay? This dominion that they have over us, this is so real. What Jeremiah 42, verses 5 and 6. Well, let's go and start with verse 4. I haven't got it highlighted, but I'm going to read it. Then Jeremiah the prophet said unto them, I have heard you. Behold, I will pray unto the Lord your God according to your words, and it shall come to pass, and whatsoever thing the Lord shall answer you, I will declare it unto you. I will keep nothing back from you. Then they said to Jeremiah, the Lord be a true and faithful witness between us, if we do not even according to all things for the which the Lord thy God shall send thee to us, whether it be good or whether it be evil, we will obey the voice of the Lord our God, to whom we send thee, that it may be well with us when we obey the voice of our Lord our God. Now, remember when I was talking about someone murdering someone? You'll be murdered and all that? Yes, this dominion causes those above us that have dominion over us, they will do whatever God commands them to do, whether it be good or whether it be evil. Evil in our eyes. But our Father, I'll just tell it tonight, Colossians 4, Jesus, whose name is Justice, this is explained in the fourth book, Justice, Jesus, not me, but the Spirit of Jesus, justifies any wrong that we do to any other servant and or vessel of God. So if you murder another child of God, because everybody's a child of God, we all have but one Father, that's in Malachi, okay, he's only created one blood, Malachi, okay, but if you do anything wrong to any servant or vessel of God, child of God, then that must happen to you too. Matthew 7, verse 12. Do unto other men as you would have other men do unto you. This is the law and the prophets. Okay? Whatever you do unto others, it's going to happen to you. It may not be in this life, but it will be in the next. Okay? You can't stand someone, that's who you're going to be. You look down on someone because they got health problems, you're going to have health problems in your next life. Whatever, it doesn't matter what it is. All we are to do is to love one another. In the beginning of the Bible, God said, when he gave us dominion, we read that a while ago, be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the earth. Those three things cannot be done without one common denominator. That's love. Love. How are you going to be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the earth without love? It's got to be there. That's the only commandment that every man, every woman has in common. Nobody else has any of the same commandments. We all have different commandments, laws, statutes, ordinances, everything. It's not supposed to be the same for any of us. Okay? But these people, these spirits, these kings of the spirits, and I explain this throughout the books, okay? The Father explains it through me, okay? However you want to put it. But I give him all the glory. I don't try to take any of it because I'm not him. Obviously, you can tell that by watching my videos or reading my books. I'm not the Father. Wow. But they have dominion over us, and this dominion can be very strong. Now, I wanted to read this here, 1 Peter chapter 4. But the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things be fervent, have fervent charity among yourselves, for charity shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man hath received the gifts, even so minister the same one to another, as good stewards of the manifold grace of God. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. Remember, don't make this about you. Make it about others. Loving others, not you. This is something I explained in the book, why I wear a mask. I made a video on that Jesus does wear a mask. I do wear a mask, but I don't wear it to protect myself. I wear it so that other people don't have to worry about catching the virus just because they walk amongst a stranger, because to many people, that's who I am. Okay? And then on top of that, I shall not tempt thy Father, thy God, thy Lord, thy God. Okay? I'm not going to tempt him. I'm not going to go out here and say, oh, give me the virus, I dare you. Well, no. I'm not going to do that. I'm learning obedience through my fear of the Father. Through my fear of the Father. Oh, let's see here. Now they're talking about these vaccines that they've got coming. And I've made my public proclamation, or whatever you want to call it, in the 4th book. I will not take no vaccine. I'm not here to try to save my life. As the scriptures say, those that try to save their lives will lose it. There, I explain this in the books, in the 3rd and the 4th books, okay? But that has to do with blood transfusions. That has to do with organ transplants. Now, if you've ever had any of these, you're not condemned, because as the scriptures teaches in the Old Testament, if a man does something without knowing, then I think it's listed your stripes will be a lot less. I don't remember the exact numbers or so forth, but obviously people didn't understand what the mark of the beast is. In the 4th book, lay it out, and it's only in the 4th book that what the mark of the beast is. That's blood transfusions, that's organ transplants, that's vaccines. I mean, like this vaccine. Most people are going to go get this vaccine so they can get their life back. They don't die. They want to stay. What is happening when this happens? You're spiritually telling our Father that you would rather stay here in Satan's world, Satan's kingdom, than be with him. That's the mark of the beast. It's not a computer chip or anything like that. Okay? Now, if they're going to come up with this vaccine and say you can't do anything, because as the scriptures, it says that anybody that won't take the mark of the beast will be put to death. If they say that you can't go into stores, you can't fly plane, take a flight or whatever unless you get the vaccine, well then I guess I'm a goner because I'm not taking it. Under no circumstances. I don't care. I am an example. It's your choice, not mine. You do what you want, but I am an example for you all. I will not take a vaccine. There will be no blood transfusion. There will not be any organ transplants, and there will not be any chest compressions of any sort. When the Father says it's time for me to go, I'm done. Goodbye to Satan's world. Goodbye to Satan's kingdom. I'm done living. I'm done visiting this world. I want to go back and be with the Father. I don't want to stay here any 1 second longer than I have to. There will be nothing done. Okay? But now, on that note, with them talking about the vaccines, I'm sorry I rambled on about that. As you can tell, I'm really heart-strong on that. There's no way. But anyway, for when they shall say, peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Now, there's a few scenarios that this could play out with this peace and safety. They're talking about these vaccines, but at the same time, our president right now is withdrawing a bunch of our troops, which is going to weaken our military security, if you will, overseas. So, I'm not sure exactly. The pause thing's going off on that, on my TV, whatever. But I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen, how he's going to play it out. But I keep hearing him talk about these vaccines coming. So what I'm thinking, don't quote me on this, but I'm thinking, when they start to think that these vaccines are going to, or they're going to start getting these vaccines distributed, does that mean sudden destruction coming? Does that mean there's all of a sudden going to be a big military war? There's a couple other things that I was thinking about with the peace and the safety, okay, is when Trump finally concedes and he said, okay, I know Biden, you won, and you're going to, starts conceding and starts passing things over. Is that when they're actually saying peace and safety? I know for a fact that that's coming up soon. And this destruction, not sure exactly how it's going to happen. Starting to kind of think it might be a nuclear war. I don't know. Because of how Trump is withdrawing troops and so forth, and how over the years on how the Father has had him pull the United States off by itself. Try to make it single instead of being one with the world, because we need the whole world, and I show this in the books, and the whole world needs us. We're all in this together. It's not just the United States versus everyone else, or China versus everyone else. We're all in this together. We all need everybody. We use a lot of products from Russia, China, all the other countries, and they use products from us. We all have to we all need each other. And I lay this out really good in the second book. Okay? But this, I'm listening for it. I'm not sure exactly if it's going to be the vaccines or if it's going to be when the president concedes, finally says, okay, that's it. Or is something going to happen with these troops coming out? Is that have something to do with the peace and safety? But I do know when it gets to the point that we start really hearing about this peace and safety, that's when the destruction is going to happen. And it's going to happen just as the Father says it will. It's not going to happen any differently. And there's no one, and that says right there at the end, and they shall not escape. There's no one going to escape out of this. We all got to go through this together. There's going to be people that's going to go try to hide in the mountains, and they're going to have their underground bunkers and whatnot. It's not going to do you any good. Because as the scriptures show, I'm not showing it tonight, they will pray that the rocks fall upon them so that they don't have to suffer the wrath of God. I probably added a few words in my commentary, but I encourage you to look that up in the scriptures. Just look it up as to where they say, where it says that they will hide under the rocks, or so be it, from the wrath of God, because they don't want to deal with the wrath of God. Okay, that's what's coming, and that's coming very soon. Now, I don't mean very soon in the next couple days. When I say soon, I'm saying, I'll say by February of 22, March of 2022. Anytime from in that time span. Oh, and this is actually kind of something I wanted to. That's Egypt is water. God's coming into Egypt, and let's see here. Oh, that's where I wanted to show you in Isaiah 27:11 earlier when I was talking about God would not have mercy on anyone without understanding. Isaiah 27:11. When the boughs thereof are withered, they shall be broken off. The women come, and set them on fire, for it is a people with no understanding. Therefore he that made them will not have mercy on them, and he that formed them will show them no favor. God formed you. God made you, our Father. No one else. You was made without hands. Our Father is Spirit. He's the one that formed you. He will not have mercy on you if you don't understand. He will not show you any favor, regardless of what you've done or who you are. Doesn't matter. So I'm just clicking through here to see what else I got here. I already showed you that. That's where I was just kind of let y'all know that Jeremiah 46, I think it is. Where the earth is covered with water, spiritual water. Now where I want to kind of reflecting back to Luke chapter 17, saying, and I'm going to look that up real quick. We're going to do it live. We're going to go to Luke 17. Oh, by the way, there's 17 verse 25. Verse 24, for as lightning and the lightning out of the one part under heaven shineth unto the other part of heaven, so shall the Son of Man be in his day. But first he must suffer many things and be rejected of this generation. Remember how I told you the Son of Man must be rejected? Yes, I've been writing books since 2015. Sold 20 books, whatever. I don't even think it's that many. No one's been reading them. No one's been understanding them, and nobody believes who I am. But that's all getting ready to come to an end. But now, verse 26, and as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it also be in the days of the Son of Man. They did eat, they did drink, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage until the day of Noah entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all. Likewise also as it was in the days of Lot. Yeah, okay. Now, a lot of people interpret that as, and they interpret it correctly, but they're not getting the whole grasp of it. Everything's going to keep going just the way it is. People are buying houses, people are going to work, people are buying merchandise, whatever. People are marrying, people are giving in marriage. Nothing's going to stay the same. Nothing's going to change. That's going to continue on. Okay, but now, where I just showed you, and where was it? Where was it? Yeah. Jeremiah 46, verse 8. Egypt riseth up like a flood, and his waters are moved like the rivers, and he saith, I will go up and will cover the earth. I will destroy the city and the inhabitants thereof. Okay, Egypt is water, spiritual water. It covers the whole earth. I've seen it from 32,000 feet. I explain it. The Father had me explain it in the fourth book only, coming out here in just a few weeks. Okay. There's what it means. It will be just as the days of Noah. Okay. In the days of Noah, the earth was covered with water. It's still covered with water, just as the days with Noah. But only this time, the water is spiritual. It's a spiritual water. And this is why it's so important to believe the writings of Moses, because, you know, David, however you want to look at it, let the spirit of Moses lead him out of Egypt. Yes, I used to go through all that stuff before. I tried to follow the laws of God to a T. Lost a few jobs of it because I wouldn't work on holy days, not man-made holidays. I quit celebrating those years ago, explained in videos and explained in the books that I quit all that years ago. But I used to, before I was baptized with the Holy Ghost, 30 years almost to the day later than I was in the belly of the earth for 3 days and 3 nights, I spent a few years observing all this, and there were certain jobs, or a couple jobs I lost because I wouldn't go to work on holy days. I never worried about it. But anyway, that's what it means when we hear, just as the days of Noah, and I can't find where that was again. Where was it? I don't know. Oh. But when we hear, it will be just as the days of Noah, just like the days of Noah. Yeah, everything's going to go on. Everybody's going to go about their own business because most people a lot of people aren't going to be drawn to this, put it that way. But at the same time, we are in the world, the earth is covered in this water, just like it was in the days of Noah. And we need to come out of that water. That was explained in the fourth book. Fourth book only. I might have it covered in third book. I don't remember. I've written so much in these books, I can't remember exactly what I put in all of them. Anyway, I think we covered what I really wanted to get, what I really felt like the Father was telling me to cover tonight. I really wanted to get to show y'all that things are happening just as the Bible said they was going to happen. Trump is the last Trump. Not because he is a Trump, or his name's Trump, but this is the last Trump. This is the last section of time that President Trump is going to be the president. This is the last Trump. The trumpet is sounding, and as I showed you all there a little while ago, we can kind of hear it, and we kind of went over a few other things on the way you can hear how the trumpet is sounding. Things are getting ready to get really rough, really tough for all of us. We all got to go through this together. And remember, don't make it about you. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Do unto other men as you would have other men do unto you. This is the law and the prophets. Okay? That's the whole purpose of why man's here. Man is here to learn how to love others in the same way that our Father loves us. Our Father never made it about him. If he did, that day one, what we went over just a little while ago, when God hovered over the face of the earth and it was open darkness, and he created the light, called the light day, called the night dark, called the darkness night, capital D, capital N, 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. If the Father would have made it about him, that would have never happened. That would have never happened. But his love is so profound, he said, I'm going to give you all another chance. So you go to Genesis 2, when God breathed life into man. John 14, Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. That life is what God breathed into man, so that man became a living soul. There's the light. There's the light right there. Part of the Father in each and every one of us is what makes all of us throughout the entire planet the one Son of God. Doesn't matter what color, what race, what nationality. Doesn't matter what size or shape, what you've done, what you're doing, or what you will do. Doesn't matter what anyone else falls in the same line. Everybody is a child of God. We all make up the one Son of God. That's why doing unto others, other men, as you would have other men do unto you, is the law and the prophets. Love others more than yourself, as I say in the books, and at least as much as you love yourself. See y'all in the next video.